The world's largest Wall Street asset manager. I mean, a firm that basically dictates global market movements from glass towers in Manhattan just announced they're pouring $100 million into training plumbers, electricians, and pipe fitters. Welcome to this deep dive on the Scaling Legends podcast.
Yeah, it's a massive move.
It's completely unexpected, right? But that's our mission today. We're unpacking this huge announcement from BlackRock. At their March 2026 U.S. Infrastructure Summit, they launched this Future Builders Initiative.
Right. The goal is to train 50,000 skilled trades workers.
Exactly. And we're going to figure out why Wall Street is suddenly terrified of the labor shortage, and more importantly, how you can leverage their money to solve your biggest headache. Because if you're listening to this, you're likely a contractor in that, $5 to $50 million range.
Yeah. And for you, labor isn't just some abstract economic theory.
No, not at all.
Right.
It's the reason you're turning down profitable work. You map out your growth, you secure financing, your spreadsheet looks pristine, and then boom.
Your lead superintendent walks off the job for a $10,000 signing bonus across town.
Yep. And the spreadsheet is completely broken. So when contractors hear about this BlackRock thing, the initial reaction is usually skepticism. Like, oh, it's a PR stunt.
Right, or a tax write-off. But if you actually look under the hood of BlackRock's portfolio, it tells a completely different story. They manage over $10 trillion in total assets.
10 trillion. That's almost incomprehensible.
It really is. And crucially, $3 trillion of that is locked up in infrastructure. We're talking utility-scale renewable energy installations, massive regional data centers, multi-state highway projects.
So they aren't doing this out of the goodness of their hearts.
No, not at all. It's purely for asset protection. Their internal risk models are flashing massive warning signs. When they model out the returns on a $2 billion highway expansion or a data center, workforce availability is no longer just a minor variable.
It's a deal breaker.
Exactly. It's been elevated to a top 3 risk factor, right up there with raw material costs and permitting delays. They need physical humans to build and maintain these hard assets, and the math says those humans simply do not exist right now.
And the sheer scale of the deficit is it's what makes it so urgent. According to Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report, the construction industry needs 501,000 additional workers beyond the normal hiring pace in 2026 just to meet demand.
500,000 people.
500,000. And that number is actually up from 430,000 in 2024. But, a massive top-line number like that kind of hides where the real pain is, right? You can't just hire a general laborer off the street to go wire a mission-critical facility.
No, you absolutely cannot. The pressure is incredibly localized into these highly specialized trades that take years to develop. We're basically seeing a historic collision of structural drivers hitting the dirt all at the exact same time.
Right, like the federal money.
Yeah, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the GHPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, they are all deploying capital simultaneously. And then you overlay that with this absolute explosion in private sector data center build-outs.
Fueled entirely by AI demands, right?
Exactly. AI is just devouring power.
Let's actually look at electricians for a second, because that trade feels like the tip of the spear right now. An electrician requires 4 to 5 years of apprenticeship training plus rigorous licensing.
Right. It's a long pipeline.
And the demand there is just being supercharged by those data centers. A modern data center's total cost is 35 to 40% electrical scope?
Yep, it's massive.
And you combine that with the nationwide rollout of EV charging and battery storage, the system just breaks. The IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, they're reporting that their apprenticeship programs are at total capacity in most major markets.
And it's not just electricians. Plumbers and pipe fitters are facing a parallel crisis. The Infrastructure Act is funding these massive water and wastewater upgrades across the country, but the demographic reality is severe.
The retirement wave.
Exactly. 25% of the current plumbing workforce is expected to retire in the next decade. The average construction worker right now is 42 and a half years old. We are staring down a demographic cliff just as demand is peaking.
Man, that's brutal. And then the technology shift makes it even more complicated. Like, take HVAC technicians. That's a trade requiring 2 to 4 years of training. But the industry is undergoing this huge push for building electrification.
Right, the move to heat pumps.
Yeah, going from traditional gas systems to advanced heat pump technology requires diagnostic and software skills that, frankly, most veteran technicians simply were not trained on.
No, they weren't. It's a totally different skill set. And then you look at welders. The American Welding Society is projecting a shortage of 360,000 welders by 2027 for structural steel and pipelines alone.
But wait, here is where I have a hard time making the math work. If we treat our tradespeople like critical supply chain commodities like steel or lumber, and we know the average worker is aging out while demand skyrockets, isn't a $100 million initiative just a drop in the bucket?
It sounds small in that context, yeah.
Right. I mean, if we are 501,000 workers short, training 50,000 people over 5 years doesn't even come close to closing the gap.
Well, you have to realize BlackRock's capital isn't trying to buy the entire labor market. They know they can't do that. The strategy is entirely focused on fixing the efficiency of the training pipeline. The current system for producing a journey person is just incredibly leaky.
A leaky pipeline?
Yeah. People enter the top of the funnel, but very few actually make it out the bottom.
Okay, so that is where this 100 million actually goes, patching the holes rather than just pouring more water in?
Exactly.
But how does this Future Builders initiative actually stop the leaks? Because it can't just be buying boots and paying tuition.
No, it targets 4 specific stages where people abandon the trades. Stage 1 is pre-apprenticeship access. Historically, the industry has relied heavily on generational recruiting, fathers bringing in sons.
Right, I know a guy who knows a guy.
Exactly. This funding intentionally targets underserved communities, veterans transitioning out of the military, and career changers coming from declining industries to really widen the top of that funnel.
Getting new demographics in the door is great, but stage 2 seems to be the critical failure point, which is training completion. I mean, the dropout rate in many apprenticeship programs hovers around 40%.
Staggering.
Imagine if 40% of your lumber just vanished off the job site between framing and finishing. You go bankrupt. What is actually causing a near half attrition rate?
Life gets in the way. Apprentices don't typically drop out because the work is too hard. They drop out because their car breaks down and they can't afford a new alternator to get to the site.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or their childcare falls through. Or they can't front the $200 for a starter set of tools. So Future Builders provides wraparound services, things like emergency microgrants, transportation vouchers, childcare stipends, to physically keep trainees in the program when life tries to pull them out.
That makes perfect sense. You're insulating the investment. And then you hit stage 3, which is licensure support, because finishing the training doesn't matter at all if you can't pass the exam to work independently.
Exactly. So the initiative funds test preparation resources and covers testing fees, so graduates actually secure their credentials.
And then stage 4, which I think is arguably the most forward-thinking part of the entire model financial education.
Yes, they are teaching these new workers how to manage their money.
Which feels, a bit unusual for a trades program. Why is Wall Street teaching an apprentice about credit scores?
Well, think about a 22-year-old going from making minimum wage to suddenly pulling in $90,000 a year with overtime. That is a massive transition.
Oh yeah, they go buy a brand new truck they can't afford.
Exactly. So teaching them how to manage higher incomes, build credit, and eventually plan for self-employment creates long-term stability. A financially stable worker is a reliable worker who shows up every single day.
Right, they aren't stressed about making rent. But when a firm like BlackRock moves this kind of capital, they don't spin up their own pipe fitting academies, right? They're risk managers, not educators. They have to be routing this money through established infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely. They are deploying the capital through heavy hitters who already have boots on the ground. The NCCER, the National Center for Construction Education and Research, is a major partner.
Right, they're the standard.
Yeah, they're the primary credentialing body recognized by over 3,000 contractors nationwide. A Future Builders graduate holding an NCCER credential is a known verified quantity. They're immediately employable.
And then you have groups like Helmets to Hard Hats. That is an incredible organization. They've already placed over 40,000 veterans into union apprenticeships.
Veterans are the absolute ideal recruitment pool.
Yeah, they bring military discipline, physical conditioning, experience with heavy equipment. Plus, they often carry their own federal training subsidies.
Right, and through Helmets to Hard Hats, these veterans get direct pathways into the United Association representing plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC, as well as SMART, which represents the sheet metal workers. But we're also seeing fascinating pivots from nonprofits like Year Up and Perscalis.
Really? Because for years, those organizations focus exclusively on creating pipelines into the tech sector.
Exactly. But with tech cooling off and construction booming, that are pivoting hard to the skilled trades.
They use an intensive short-cycle training model, right?
Yeah.
Usually 12 to 14 weeks of rigorous fundamentals.
Yeah, it bridges that pre-apprenticeship gap, giving candidates the baseline skills they need so they don't immediately wash out on day one of a real job site.
And obviously, local community colleges are receiving a massive influx of this cash too. Many of them have incredible welding or electrical programs, but they literally have to turn students away because they don't have the funding for more instructors or welding booths. This capital just physically expands their capacity.
So if these programs are patching the pipeline, the next logical hurdle for the person listening right now is intercepting that talent before the massive national firms swallow them all up.
Right. Shifting from the macro theory to your actual execution on a Monday morning. How do you get these newly trained workers onto your payroll? Because waiting for a highly trained electrician to blindly submit a resume through your website is a losing strategy.
100%.
In fact, as highlighted in Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report, contractors who can attract and retain skilled workers will have a decisive competitive advantage worth far more than any equipment purchase.
That is so true.
You can lease an excavator, right? You cannot lease a loyal 10-year superintendent.
No, you can't. And the contractors who are winning right now aren't waiting for the future builders' money to fully deploy. They are adopting a proactive mindset today.
So what's step one?
Your first move is to identify your local partners right now. Get on a first-name basis with the directors of your local community colleges and trade schools. You want your company to be the very first phone call they make when a promising graduate is ready for placement.
The timeline here is critical to understand too. For those 12 to 14-week pre-apprenticeship programs run by the nonprofits, you could be seeing candidates ready for entry-level placement as early as late 2026 or early 2027.
Right. The full journey persons obviously take 4 to 5 years, which pushes that timeline out to 2030.
But a first-year apprentice can perform 60 to 70% of journey person level work by the end of their first year if they're properly supervised. You need them producing now.
Exactly. And another major mindset shift is becoming an active participant in the credentialing process itself. You should register your company with NCCR.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, if you are an accredited training sponsor, the on-the-job training you provide on your sites actually counts toward their official credentials. This transforms your company from just being another paycheck into an institution that actively advances their career.
And if you have 10 or more field employees, it is time to formalize your apprenticeships into a registered program. It unlocks federal and state subsidies, provides tax credits, and proves to your hires that you view them as long-term investments rather than disposable day labor.
Right, you're building a career path.
But my absolute favorite part of this strategy, and we see this working, is looking entirely outside the construction industry for talent. Non-traditional recruiting.
Oh, the hospitality and retail sectors are gold mines for this.
Yes. Think about a 28-year-old restaurant manager. What is their daily life like? They work 50 to 60 hours a week. They manage chaotic, high-stress environments.
Constantly putting out fires.
Exactly. They de-escalate conflicts with difficult people constantly, and they coordinate complex logistics just to keep the kitchen running.
Yeah.
And for all that stress, they're making maybe $45,000 a year, with a brutal ceiling on their upward mobility.
They possess all the soft skills required to run a job site. They just lack the technical hard skills.
Exactly. So you sit down with that person and offer them a completely different trajectory. You say, come work for me as an apprentice. You will make $55,000 while you learn the technical side. And in 4 years, you have a guaranteed clear path to making $90,000 or more as a journey person.
That is a life-changing conversation.
You are rescuing them from burnout. They will run through brick walls for your company.
But recruiting that talent is only the first step, right? Retention is where the actual moat is built. And retention requires way more imagination than just bumping their hourly pay by 50 cents every 6 months.
Yeah, and this ties directly back to why BlackRock included financial education in their curriculum. You have to look at the economic reality of the whole person, like implement tool purchase programs.
That's a huge one.
Allow them to buy high-quality tools through the company and deduct a small, manageable amount from their paycheck over time, so they aren't going into massive credit card debt just to be productive.
Right, or offer vehicle financing assistance or strong career progression maps. But let's actually zoom out to the broader economic environment for a second, because there is this undercurrent of anxiety right now among contractors regarding mixed economic signals.
Yeah, committing to heavy workforce investments feels risky when the headlines are warning of a slowdown.
Exactly.
And the signals are definitely conflicting right now. We're seeing mixed messages. Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report notes that while ConExpo 2026 drew a record-breaking 140,000 plus attendees from 128 countries, with equipment manufacturers reporting massive order books, recent data from the Dodge Momentum Index shows some cooling.
Right, which makes people nervous.
Yeah, the Dodge Momentum Index measures non-residential building projects entering the initial planning phase. And a dip there, combined with slight softening in February job growth, has people pulling back.
And if the planning pipeline for commercial real estate is cooling, doubling down on hiring might seem totally counterintuitive. But the distinction to make here is between structural demand and cyclical demand.
Okay, unpack that.
A new office park or a retail strip mall is cyclical demand. It fluctuates with interest rates and the broader economy. But the demand for skilled trades driven by data centers, grid modernization, and water infrastructure is structural.
Right. Federal money is already there.
It is already funded, it is locked in for the next decade, and it is moving forward regardless of minor economic dips.
So a mismatch between softening cyclical demand and booming structural demand actually makes workforce investment your ultimate defensive play.
Exactly. If the market does soften and project bidding gets hyper-competitive, the contractors who survive and absorb their competitors' market share will not be the ones who laid off their talent at the first sign of a headwind.
No, they'll be the ones who maintained a fortress of highly trained, deeply loyal workers who can execute complex jobs efficiently. I really want you to reflect on your own operations right now. Look at your payroll over the last 2 years. Look at your turnover rate. Are you actively building a workforce moat that your competitors cannot breach? Or are you just cycling through unproven temporary hires every 12 to 18 months, crossing your fingers that enough guys show up on Monday morning to keep the schedule intact?
Because if you are just cycling through people, your business is entirely exposed. BlackRock's $100 million bet is a massive signal that the smartest institutional capital in the world believes the long-term, multi-decade growth trajectory of construction is totally secure.
Yeah, they have identified the labor supply as the single bottleneck threatening that growth, and they are moving aggressively to clear it. Which brings us to a final, slightly provocative thought for you to chew on before your next Monday operations meeting.
I love this point.
Wall Street and massive institutional capital are now taking a much more active, heavy-handed role in funding the labor pipeline. What happens when these programs actually start churning out thousands of highly skilled graduates? Do you think BlackRock and these mega firms are just going to release them into the wild out of the goodness of their hearts?
Definitely not. He who funds the pipeline will inevitably try to control the output. It is highly probable that these massive asset managers will attempt to direct those newly minted tradespeople exclusively toward their own multi-billion-dollar infrastructure mega projects.
Leaving everyone else fighting for scraps.
Exactly. Middle market contractors, those of you in that $5 to $50 million range, need to build your local relationships with community colleges and trade schools right now. Cement your access to that talent pool today before the national mega firms try to buy up all the exclusive access tomorrow.
That is such a critical warning. Now, before we wrap up today's deep dive, we want to shift gears and explicitly thank the sponsor that makes this level of analysis possible. All the structural insights and the specific market intelligence we discussed today came directly from Smart Business Automator.
Yeah, and while BlackRock is spending millions to solve the labor shortage in the field, Smart Business Automator is solving the other half of the scaling equation, the massive administrative bottleneck choking your office.
It really is a game changer. Smart Business Automator is an AI-powered platform built specifically for construction companies that are trying to scale up without drowning their project managers in paperwork. Let's look at how this actually changes a Tuesday afternoon for your team. Take their Smart Document Organization feature.
Oh, that saves so much time.
Instead of the superintendent clicking through endless nested folders looking for one specific photo, the system automatically tags, sorts, and categorizes job site photos, plans, permits, RFIs, and daily logs.
And the document intelligence feature is where it really acts as a force multiplier. It physically extracts the crucial details buried deep inside 300-page spec books or dense project drawings.
Right, things a human would just miss.
Exactly. It catches critical compliance items or material shifts that a tired project manager might easily miss at the end of a long shift.
And it completely transforms project communication. It takes those long, rambling field reports and transcribed meeting discussions and distills them into crystal clear summaries with assigned action items.
And it generates draft RFI responses using the historical context of the project.
Yes, saving hours of manual typing. Your team can just use the natural language smart search to ask a question across all project files and get an immediate sourced answer.
It's also actively looking around corners to manage your risk. The platform provides schedule risk detection by constantly reviewing project activity to identify hidden bottlenecks before they completely derail your timeline.
And it delivers budget and variance insights so your leadership team can spot cost movements while there is still time to course correct. Plus, it fits perfectly into the ecosystem you are already using.
Right, through API integrations.
Exactly. It connects smoothly with your existing ERPs, the central software running your accounting and enterprise operations. So, no more manual double entry. It allows your current project managers to handle significantly more jobs efficiently, giving your leadership clear, real-time visibility into project health.
It is the ultimate leverage tool. You do more with the team you already have.
So here is our call to action for you. If you found value in this deep dive, make sure you subscribe to Scaling Legends on your preferred podcast platform. Please rate and review the show. It is the absolute best way you can help other ambitious construction owners discover these insights. Share this with your operations managers and your leadership team. And finally, to stop drowning in paperwork and start scaling smarter, visit smartbusinessautomator.com today.
Scaling a construction business in this environment shouldn't rely on luck or hope.
And it shouldn't rely on that broken spreadsheet we talked about at the very beginning either. When the market shifts or a superintendent leaves, you shouldn't be left scrambling in the dark. By tapping into the new training pipelines being built right now and leveraging the technology available to streamline your office, you can build a business that is as solid, reliable, and enduring as the infrastructure you are out there constructing every single day.